Welcome back to another episode of Healthy Mind, Healthy Life, where we keep mental health practical, human, and real. My name is Sayan, as some of you would know, and today we are talking about something that sounds professional on paper, but is actually deeply personal in real life. How mission and vision shapes our choices, our leadership, and perhaps our entire sets of meaning. My guest today is Mike Cobb, and someone who has spent decades helping people turn someday dreams into real life plans across the entire Latin America. So I invite you all to join me on this journey where we would be talking about how vision isn't just a goal, but a focus, a direction, and sometimes a lifeline. So I'm excited to have you in this conversation, Michael, and nonetheless more excited, to see where this conversation naturally unfolds and your take on this.
Man, thank you for having me. It's nice to be here with you today. I love the concept of the podcast. It's right on the money, man. Right on the money. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Michael. And yeah, like we definitely are doing our part to, spread the awareness and spread the word out there. But, before we get into the uh, I would say, what is it that is so important about these two concepts? I want to start with something simple. So, when you talk about or when you hear the words mission and vision, what do you think about in your mind? I mean, why just these two words that you boil down to? Like, is it does it come from pressure? Did it come from clarity or responsibility?
Hmm. I think that for me, vision kind of it certainly comes before mission, right? Because one is, if to use, whatever business terms, one is strategic and one is tactical, right? And and vision, my vision, I think evolved over time. Although I have to say that from a very young age, as young as I can remember, I guess, I've always kind of felt called, if that's, a calling, right? A calling to, and later in life, you learn words to put around it. And when I was in college, I went to a presentation once, and the speaker, the title of his presentation was "Leave the Woodpile a Little Higher." Right? And I grew up in Northwest Pennsylvania, so, fires in the wintertime, fireplaces, wood burners, right? A lot of us heated our houses, at least in some part, with a wood burner or a fireplace. And the idea that if you went to somebody's home, like when you left, their wood pile would be a little higher. And I think that kind of maybe gave words or a framework to my sense of calling in my whole life. Like, how can I leave the world's wood pile a little higher, when I leave this world? And so having words to put around that feeling, that very compelling feeling, right? That sense of being called. And and so how that manifested, into vision, right? Into the bigger picture, the strategic picture of vision, that really did not occur until I was in my late 20s, I guess. I was in the computer business. I was, whatever. I was helping a company develop a wholesale computer manufacturing distribution business. And I remember questioning sort of this idea of, well, how does this serve the vision? How does this serve the calling, right? And and sometime late 20s, maybe early 30s, somewhere around the age of 30, it kind of crystallized for me. I realized that there was this important learning that I had spent, 20 years or 10 years of 10 years of career in business, right? Learning how to do some very important things so that when I started my own business, I had a foundation of how to run a business. And that business was the crystallization of the vision, working in Latin America, and being able to leave many wood piles a lot higher. Mission is the tactical response to vision. How do I do it? Like, what is this mission? What is the goal? I think a lot of people in life and in work, especially because I see it in the work environment, because I spend a lot of my time in the work environment. You give somebody a task, right? But you actually, and a lot of times I think I communicate mission. Here's your mission. They see it as a task, and when they run into a roadblock, they stop, right? because it was a task. Do this. Well, I got to this point and I can't do what you asked me anymore because I've come to a roadblock, right? Mission is very different. Mission is the end point, right? It's how do I accomplish what it is that we're trying to accomplish? And when I hit an obstacle, then I have to get creative. I have to go inside. I have to talk to other people, whatever that mechanism is to help us get creative to resolve the challenge that's in front of us to complete the mission, right? And the completion of the mission is what allows the realization of the vision, right? I think that's how I would connect mission and vision in my life, but also professionally and personally as well.
Yeah, I love that you started at the incident at a friend's house because it's easy to, I think, sort of in and it's very easy to intellectualize these words, right? But the truth is, if you really can't land it emotionally within yourself, right, it usually doesn't last behaviorally, within you for a long, long time. And yeah, and if you ask me, Michael, my analogy to this would be, and you could take this on an atomic scale, in your daily habits as well, right? So I could say your vision is the why aspect of things, right? And your mission is the how aspect of things,
Beautiful.
right?
Love it. Yeah.
So if I take an example, say, I want to purchase a pair of new shoes, right? I have built this habit, in the last couple of years, and I've been trying to inculcate this habit more and more in the minute things on my daily life. That whenever I'm buying something, whenever I want to do something, right, make time for that friend, that colleague. I always, and not in a wrong way, but I always ask myself, why? Why am I doing this? It's if it's a new shoe. Why is it that it is so important to me? Why do I need that new pair of shoes for? Is it for gym? Is it for unnecessary show off? Is it for anything that has got to do with my needs at all, right? And
Yep.
if there is any, like, useful, like, value add on, like, that pair of shoe would do to me, I would definitely buy it. It doesn't matter if it costs me like $500. Does it cost me $1,000? I'll buy it definitely, right? Because that's the kind of value that I think that particular thing would add on to me. And I think your concept of vision and mission, right? It sort of aligns to that habit that I've been trying to inculcate for the last few years. And I think a lot of people would treat mission and vision like corporate wallpaper, right? Like something you put on a website, and then I mean, what do you think most of us misunderstand about them, especially founders? Because we hear a lot about, mission and vision, particularly from founders, leaders, or even just people trying to build a meaningful life. But what's your take on this?
Yeah, well, look, that's a beautiful question. I'm going to answer it in two ways, I think. The first is that I think a lot of companies, uh, y- hmm, let me come at it a different way. Our organization does a ton of corporate social responsibility, and we do it because it's the right thing to do. It's who we are as people. We've always done it long before we had a business. We'll do it, long after I'm retired from my business, right? We do these things because they're important things to do. But I think many companies hang corporate social responsibility. And working in Latin America, I see this. Company comes down, they have a thing they're doing, their work, their business, right? And they know that in order to be perceived in the marketplace or perceived in the community, that they have to have a corporate social responsibility element. And so they develop one. I call it hanging it on the side of the business, right? It's not part of it. It's not core, right? And I think mission and vision many times are the same. Every company has to have a mission. Every company has to have a vision. If you don't have a mission and a vision, well, you're not really a company, or, right? It's what you're supposed to do. Whereas I think the best businesses are the ones because what a corporation's just a piece of paper. It's a legal document, right? In Delaware or wherever, right? And so like a corporation is to be anything more than a piece of paper. It's the people. It's the people, right? And so this idea of mission and vision, when it's authentically the best companies, mission and vision are authentic to the people of the company. right? Certainly the founder, I mean, the leader, maybe it'd have to be the founder, but the leaders of the company, which generally are founders, right? But the leadership of a company must embody the vision and mission. It must be authentic to them and who they are. And when there's an alignment between their mission and vision and the mission and vision of the company, because the company is people, then you see the best in companies. You see the best in people. You see the best in companies. Where there's a mismatch, you've got mission and vision because they needed one, for their website or whatever business plan, right? But what they do as a business is either usually it's not opposite, that's too strong, right? But it could be this divergence of like they say mission and vision is this, but the business is doing this, or it's whatever. And so I think when you get alignment, you get true joy. I mean, that's it. You get joy. You get joy in the organization. You get joy in your people, and you get the delivery of something that's truly spectacular. The best companies do that. The best companies have an alignment of mission, vision, professionally as well as personally, and then just wonderful, spectacular, phenomenal things can come from that. Do come from that.
Yeah, and it's so true. And you have spoken about it, right? You say that a vision and mission, they are linked for you. And you told us how, like, you possibly can't describe one without the other. And you also said that earlier, I mean, that mission does come from mission. Sorry, mission does come from vision, indeed, right? But yeah. But if I ask you, where does this vision really emerge from? Is it values? Is it suffering? Life experience, or a moment of realization? What is it exactly? Or is it something that like you said, like corporates would love to hang on to that idea of CSR, right? I mean, is it something related to that, or is there any core awakening?
Yeah. Look, I think vision has to emerge at some point. I mean, I think as a child, maybe, we have these fantasies, right? There's a difference between fantasy and vision, right? Fantasy is fantasy. Like, I want to be the president of the United States someday. I don't, but I'm just saying, like, that could be a fantasy, right? But a vision is very different. Do I have what it takes to become the president, right? And it's not money or ambition in so many cases. It's personal characteristics, right? And I think that's why vision typically comes later in life as we mature, because maturing is understanding what your strengths are, but also what your weaknesses are. Look, I might have had a fantasy. Here's one. I never had it, but I'm saying I want to be a professional football player, right? I'm 5'8" and I weigh, 180 pounds. Like, no way. No way, right? That's a fantasy, right? Now, if I had the characteristics, physical characteristics, 6'4" and 280, okay, maybe that would be a vision, right? And I could pursue it. So I think it's important for us as we grow up to understand our strengths, understand our weaknesses, and character, not just physical, but mental and personal characteristics, right? So that fantasies can be narrowed down and slipped away. So you have a few left, right? And then you have to take that fantasy, right? That calling, that's probably a fantasy. Like, I want to be significant in the world. I want to be meaningful in the world, right? But what are my attributes that I can bring forth that allow me to do the best job possible in that now moving from fantasy to vision, right? Which is like, I can do this. I have what it takes to do this. Now it's a vision, right? And I think most people have visions as they mature. I mean, most people do, and they can change, right? You're not always stuck with one vision, right?
Yeah.
But then, but then from that, mission evolves out of that. But I think it's fantasy brought down to vision when we get real with who we are, our strengths, our weaknesses, and what it is that we want to accomplish. I think that's where vision emerges. Yeah.
So true. And especially that part where you said, that vision is also something that's not rigid, right? It evolves with time. I think that.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Because we evolve, right? Our capabilities evolve, right? If all of a sudden we're finding that we're better at certain things and have these strong attributes that let us do more in a certain area, our vision should evolve, right? Because why wouldn't we take and play our strongest suit where we can make the best possible, outcome?
yeah, absolutely. That does indeed make a lot sense. So I think this conversation must be, I would say it should feel relieving to all the founders and co-founders, or I mean, a leader in general, if they're listening to this. But I just want to end this on a very real note, Michael. So you describe vision as seeing something completed in your mind's eye, right?
Yes.
Um, and then coordinating people towards it. Okay, so what I really want to put forth is, if someone is in that space, who feels stuck, like they have ambition but no clear vision. And like you said, it's so important as you grow to, narrow down those things. So it's like, the three circles that we all know, right? Something you're good at, something that makes you happy, and something that does make you money as well. So it should be an intersection of all the three, right? But
Yep.
I say somebody is in that spot where they feel stuck, right? And they do have ambition, but no clear vision. And I think that's a quite common a scenario, especially these days, because whatever the impact of social media. I mean, that's definitely a conversation for some other time, perhaps. But what do you think is a practical way to start? Like an actual first step.
Yeah. In our organization, I talk about the kind of people we want to hire as sort of entry level, typically younger people. Wouldn't have to be. It could be somebody, older like me, right? That has ambition, right? That has a desire to do something they might not have their vision, right? They might not know what that is. I think that it's the organization's responsibility to help define a vision for somebody who's feeling lost or stuck, right? Or at least describe what our mission and vision is, right? And say, hey, look, here's our mission and vision. Here's what we do as a company, like professionally, but here's what it means. I think that's the big thing, right? Here's what we do, but here's actually what it means to a client to give somebody the ability to move overseas from the United States, from Canada, and have their cost of living drop by half or more, right? Because there are so many people in the United States and Canada worried about trying to live on Social Security, right? They're living in fear, they're living in angst, they're living in worry every day, right? As they get closer and closer to retirement, they're like, what am I going to do? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to eat? Right? And these are serious concerns, right? And if they're weighing on you daily, that's heavy, right? And so we as a company can serve that person with a home or a product, a home in this case, right? That can take a lot of those concerns away, right? So what we do mean? It means a lot to the client because we can give them peace of mind, right? Which is important. But then in the bigger scheme of things, what are we doing in our larger communities, whether it's Belize or Nicaragua or Costa Rica or Panama? We're creating economic systems that are sustainable and socially responsible, so that not only are we serving the client, the person who needs that home and a cost of living adjustment way down, right, that they can afford it, um, but also in that larger community, we're bringing employment, we're bringing taxes, we're bringing people who engage in the community, whether it's to go teach guitar to a bunch of kids or help them with business accounting or many health and lots of other things that our residents and people who decide to become neighbors with us get to do, right? Because now it creates significance in their lives. And so, like, this is just the win stack. I call the win. We talk about win-win situations. I think we create these win, these win stacks that are just awesome. And so when somebody's looking for something, but they don't know what it is, my advice to them is simply step into it. step into it. You have to take that step. Reach out to talk to many different organizations, whether it's companies or NGOs or government organizations. So cast the seed wide, spread the seed wide, but spread the seed and see where it starts to sprout. And then the alignment of your vision, your purpose in life, right, within organizations is critically important. Like on my homepage, I can't remember the quote. I love the quote, and I should really memorize it. I put it up there because I love it so much. But basically, it says, "The master of life cannot tell the difference between work and play because he is always doing both at the same time."
Wow.
Honest to goodness, I really can't tell when I'm working or playing because I just love not every moment. I love most moments of my life, and
Yeah.
and I feel very blessed, and I think as an individual, that's a great vision for somebody, right? That's the perfect intersection of money, what we enjoy and what we're good at. That intersection is awesome, and the better we get the overlap,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I mean, and that is the byproduct of I would say, enjoying something, or if it's money, I think that's a byproduct of that stake, that you're enjoying the most part of whatever that is, like you said, whether that would be work or that would be anything else.
Yep.
And I think that should be the goal in anybody's life, Michael, right? Because I think that is this ultimate state of bliss that someone could achieve in their life, like, right? I mean, uh, professionally as well, personally as well, right? I think that's the highest state. But yeah, definitely, I love that clarity coming out of you. So I think that distinction really matters, because a healthy vision doesn't just feel good, right? It holds up under reality, right?
Yeah.
It, like you said, it narrows down those things which you're good at. It makes you more grounded as well.
Yep.
So I think that's perhaps the best note to wrap this conversation upon as well. But if there's anything that you would like to add, Michael? If there's anything, I mean, from my end, if I had to add something, would be this. So for all the listeners who are listening to this right now, I think when mission and vision does align, right, your work stop being just output, and it does start become a meaningful expression of who you are, right? So that's just one part, perhaps, that Michael, you have been trying to say. But is there anything else that you would like to add to this thought?
Yeah.
This
Well,
was today would say.
absolutely, because I love to play with things. I'm a playful person, so let me be playful for a moment and say, if anybody listening has the vision of living outside their home country, right? It could be any outside your home country, then my book will help you accomplish the mission of getting there. And I will give you my book for free. We will send you a coupon. You can go to Amazon. You can download my book for free. That's how important I believe it is for you to accomplish your vision. Simply send an email to podcast@ecidevelopment.com and just say Mike's book. My book is all about helping folks who are looking for property outside their home countries accomplish that mission as painlessly as possible. And so I would encourage you, if you're thinking about doing it, grab a copy of my book. It's free. It's my gift to you for having a vision that I resonate with, and a mission that's probably a little harder than you think it might be. And my book can help you. So, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing, Mike. For you to, I mean, give your book for free, like you said, with that amount of wisdom, that lived experience. I think that's cool. So for anyone who's listening to this, folks, do grab it. But just to make it more easy for you, Mike, for people who want to learn more about your work, or either that's global living, building, plan A, plan B, or even get your book at. So you shared
Yeah.
the way to get that. But I mean, where should people find you at?
ECIdevelopment.com is our website. But if you want to communicate directly, just shoot an email to podcast@ecidevelopment.com and just say, in the subject line, intro to Mike or something, or want to talk to Mike. And then the folks there will shoot it over. Yep.
Perfect.
Easy.
Perfect. So I'll include the details in the show notes, folks. And I think again, this is a golden opportunity for you to go grab that book and make that idea come to life, perhaps. So, folks, that's all for this conversation. If this episode did give you a moment of clarity or even just a moment of honesty, do take a breath and don't rush past it, because I think sometimes the smallest inner shift becomes the start of a new direction. And of course, if you want more grounded conversations like this, do follow Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. Not because we have all the answers, although we try, but because you deserve a space that keeps asking better questions and keeps you company while you figure it out. So, this has been Sayan on Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. And with that, I'm signing off for today, and we'll see you in the next one.